Thank you, Presiding Officer. Amongst all the chaos and controversy from Westminster, it was somewhat of a comfort to return to the normality and the routine of our Parliament, where on the first day after summer recess, as normal, we were back to business with the government laying out their plans and we in turn having the opportunity to fairly and rationally question and scrutinise and debate. In other words, getting on with the day job on behalf of our constituents. And it was clear to anybody who was listening that responding to the climate emergency is at the very heart of this year's programme for government. And I'm sure the First Minister won't mind me pointing out to Mr Cole-Hamilton that she did speak at length yesterday about the climate emergency that we face. And I do have to concede that environmental politics is not my hinterland. It's not where I started from. And it was on entering this Parliament 12 years ago, and if I'm candid, all the engagement we do with children and young people on the issues that matter most to them that has over the years opened my eyes. And I used to feel somewhat overwhelmed by the social and economic and the climate chaos that will be unleashed if we don't roll back on our misuse of the planet's resources. But what is now more visible than ever before is that we now have a much more connected and collective approach to tackling the climate challenge. And the fact that the programme for government is more task and investment focused gives me more hope, or at least makes me feel less powerless. And there are some very important building blocks with the Scottish National Investment Bank and its primary mission to help us transition to a net zero economy. There's a massive investment, a massive new investment in public transport, specifically buses. Energy efficiency will also benefit from £500 million investment, and increasing the spending power of infrastructure investment is important as well. And I, on a constituency note, was very glad to see £30 million in a low-carbon heat fund, given that Mitsubishi is one of the biggest employers in my constituency, and they manufacture air conditioning and heat pumps. And it's also good news that new build housing from 2024 will be heated from renewable sources. And all of this and more is absolutely central to what is my political heartland, which is fairer work, more affordable and warm homes, and along with our new social security powers that now benefit 90,000 people in Scotland, there is that real sense of impetus, along with the big ticket items, the Best Start grant and the child payment, that we are on the road to reducing poverty and inequality. But like many people, given the current UK environment, I worry about our future more than I've ever done. I worry about whether we have enough powers to protect our democracy. I worry whether we have all the levers to meet all of our ambitions when you have one government that is giving and another that is taking. But all of this increases my resolve to work harder and, yes, making the case for independence. We do live in a democracy, I'm entitled to do that, but also to find ways to do more with our existing powers and resources. And turning to that point, I very much welcome the commitment to the Good Food Nation Bill. West Lothian Food Bank report a 40% increase in demand since the rollout of Westminster's universal credit. And I would hope that we could all agree that we will never be rich as a society until no man, woman or child has to rely on food banks. And I do support the calls by Nourish Scotland, the Scottish Food Coalition, and all those respondents, 1,400 to the bill's consultation, calling for the incorporation of the right to food into Scots law. And I do accept entirely that it's far easier to legislate than it is to deliver rights in the real world. But we have to end hunger and poor nutrition in 21st century Scotland. And as well as hunger, we also have a problem with obesity that we need to face up to. And I very much support the government's work on healthy eating and the need to tackle multi-buys and heavily discounted food with low or no nutritional value. I do, however, have some concerns about potential unintended consequences, which the Minister for Public Health has been kind enough to discuss with me. Personnel in my constituency employ 200 people. And as most people know, Patterson Arran produced shortbread. Now, I'm not for a minute pretending that shortbread is anything other than a treat, but it is worth bearing in mind that there is 17% sugar in shortbread compared to 52% in a Kit Kat, for example. And big confectionery companies will spend a huge amount of money on advertising, the regulation of which is reserved. Meanwhile, we propose to limit in-store promotion and free samples, which may disproportionately impact on small to medium-sized companies who, like Patterson Arran, are just trying to sell more shortbread around Christmas and Hogmanay. So I hope as we move forward that we really will consider the evidence and the impact and how all of this fits with our food and drink strategy. And my final point, Presiding Officer, is I am very delighted to see progress with the Elective Treatment Centre at St John's in Livingston. And I am delighted to endorse a programme for government that's getting things done and having the courage to face up to the longer term and setting out what our longer term challenges and goals should be. Thank you.
Thank you.